me and you. Which was also in Christ Jesus. Philippians 2 and 5. Sheesh.
Looking for answers, need breakthroughs, this is your exit. We'll talk about topics that you choose while teaching a lesson. Stay strong for our people and our views, we putting in effort. Trying to do what we can, just a small few, but we see a big exit. We march and we exit, we march and we exit. We march and we exit, we march and we exit.
Welcome to Exit. My name is Brother Dominique. We got two special guests today, Brother Elijah and Sister Brooke. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves to you all.
Hey everyone, I am Brooke Mitchell. I am a Chattanooga native. I am really happy to be on today.
My name is Elijah Dodds. I'm also a Chattanooga native as well. Happy to be on the podcast. Talk about the Black family and Black excellence.
Okay. So like you said, the topic today will be about Black family, single parents, homes, and income. So I'm gonna let Sister Brooke to start us off, since this was her topic, and it is a topic. So what exactly about the Black family, single mother, and the relations to the income?
Right. So I just kind of one day I was talking with my boyfriend. We were speaking about how the wealth gap between white people and Black people is substantial. So that probed me to start looking at statistics regarding Black families and white families. And something that I maybe saw a correlation between is the amount of single parent households that the Black community has, and also the income compared to that. So I have some statistics that I can look up and we can discuss. So yeah, the median household income by race in Chattanooga, where we live, is $27,000. So almost 28.
Is that annually or monthly?
Yes, so that's annually.
Monthly. That'd be a lot more.
Nah,
I wish. Yeah.
So I got these demographics.
So that's roughly $2,250 a month.
And that's in Chattanooga, you said?
That's in Chattanooga. And so just like with these houses, with the rent prices, for a 2-bedroom, you at least go spend about $800. So you minus $800 with that. You really can have now. Us Black people, we like to produce children, so you we're gonna have a lot of children, so you gotta think about that. So we are in a position where we struggling now, and it's like hard,
Right.
But what put us in this position?
We've been in this position for a minute now. For over 400 years, ever since we were brought to America. We've been slaves, so to speak, to a higher power, which is the white man. Ever since they've been in that power, we've pretty much been struggling, and there's something we got to do, to close the wealth gap between the Black people and the people at the top, the 1%, I guess. In this situation, Black people are the 1% because the other 99% are not struggling like we are in America. You have the Hispanics and other minorities as well that are struggling, but no people in America have been through what Black people have been through. So when I think about that, those numbers, the 27,000 a year.
Yes.
That's nothing, right? Like
nothing at all.
It's something we got to do. That's literally living paycheck to paycheck, and to live paycheck to paycheck in America, it's just not gonna work because the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer, and something's got to be done to close that gap.
Yes, that's a great point, Elijah. And another statistic I just found. So, the percentage of Black women who have babies and are unmarried is over 50%. So, one out of every two, at least, mothers who are giving birth to a child are unwed. So that we know that when you are married, or even if you're like in a domestic partnership or what have you, that increases your chances of income, and it also has a male and female energy in the household. So something that you touched on, Elijah, is that something that has to be done. And I think that's true. I feel like history has shown us that what you would say as the higher power, the white man, will not just freely give out resources to Black people.
Right.
So it's up to Black people to come together and maybe have an abundance mindset and realize that if we come together, everyone out here can win. So it will take us having the patience to build a family, us also having the determination to build our own schools. Like what they could say. I hear a lot of people talking about rebuilding Wall Street, and I feel like that's going to have to happen across the entire nation. I don't feel like it's fair to tell people that they have to go back to Africa or whatever in order to achieve just a fair lifestyle, because I feel like everyone is entitled to a good life. That's your birthright. Just by being born, you should be able to be happy and comfortable and live somewhere that is free of, poverty. So.
You made a great point about the white man. Yeah. The reason they don't want us to become, empowered is, they fear Black people with power, and they hide the things that, we need the most. Black people don't read. They put a lot of knowledge in books. They put a lot of things in like the stock market. Black people don't know about the stock market. We don't know about, creating, building our own platforms and, really becoming more independent is what we need to do. That's the biggest thing that we lack between Black and white is because Black people we're not independent. We don't work together, and we don't know how to work by ourselves. So we just need to the Black man and Black woman need a better bond with each other.
Exactly. And I feel go ahead.
You said something that you said we don't know how to work together, nor do we know how to work by ourselves. When you say we don't know how to work by ourselves, what do you mean? Do you mean as an individual or as a people or nation?
Really both. I would start with the individual. As for instance, a Black man living in poverty, say in Chattanooga, for instance. It's hard to make it in Chattanooga if you are Black. Chattanooga, just Tennessee in general, is mostly white. Is a mostly white area. But if you move to Atlanta, you have a lot of opportunities because you're surrounded by more Black people. You're surrounded by more things that you are willing to step into. Chattanooga is an area where there's a lot of opportunity for Black people, but sometimes we are too independent to where we just don't accept each other. So where we are able to build that bond. Like we always hating on each other. Like if you see a Black man working on something, like he's building for himself, you like, oh, what does he think he doing? Like he following the white man. But that's exactly what we should be doing, is building ourselves, become more independent. But sometimes what I mean by we are too independent sometimes is that we don't look for outside resources ourselves, and we try to do everything ourselves, but we can't really do that. We have to look for outside knowledge. We have to research. We have to, talk to other people and build communications and network with each other to rise.
Exactly, Elijah. That's a really good point that you touched on. I feel like at this point, Black people have to be held accountable for taking action, because there's resources everywhere. Like everyone has a smartphone, XYZ. I feel like if people were to just, like you said, learn to work together, come together like other cultures do, like Chinese people, for example, they all, it might be like 10 of them. They all put their money together. One person start a business, and while that business is growing, they get up the same amount of revenue that they put in initially and give it to the next person for them to start their business. And they all work at each other's businesses too to help save costs. And then in so many years, everyone has their own stream of revenue that they can grow from. So I think it's important to, like you said, come together, have an abundance mindset, go out and seek knowledge. And it's okay to follow things that other people do if it's been like, successful. I feel like sometimes, like you said, Black people want to be too independent. It's like, oh, I don't want to take their advice, maybe just because they don't like them. Well, you don't have to like everybody that you work with, but if there's a proven recipe for success, there's nothing wrong with following that, especially if you want to give back to your people and you want to build wealth instead, like leaving bills. Something that I really am saddened by at times is like someone passes and they gotta have a GoFundMe. I think my daughter's passionate about the topic. But it's like, okay, all this money that was spent on clothes or shoes, things that were materialistic, you could have put that into a life insurance policy. Now the people who are left behind, they can bury you properly, and now they can maybe start a business and invest. But it's about adopting that mindset and walking in it too, and not only speaking about it. So you can teach your children, or even if you don't have children, teach the people around you, teach your friends, teach your parents, and people who will listen, or get on social media. Everyone has a voice. Just say things that are beneficial that will help other people.
I know. I think you was about to touch on the division of the family.
So the question is raised, who is the color man? And the answer is, the color man is the Caucasian white man, or Yakub Gressa Devil, the skunk of the planet Earth. Now, when you look at a skunk, you notice it's black with the white stripes in the middle of it. Could this be a symbolic of the white man dividing the black woman and the black man? Now, so when we go to the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8, it reads, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." Now, what people went all over the earth and brought hell and brought death among every nation they went and conquered? It's nothing but the white man.
So I believe personally, I think when you say that we can't work together by ourselves, I took that as a people, meaning we just can't work together just black. We want white. And like what I see, we always want to include white people because we become so sensitive as a people. Honestly, like we always want to make sure or let them know that we still cool with them. But in truth, they don't give a fuck about us. Right. I mean, but they don't. But and when we stop caring about them, because God allowed them to be made for a purpose, and their purpose is not for us to get along with them or for them to befriend us. In fact, the purpose was to let us see our flaws within ourselves. Because they are the manifestation of our weak germ. Our lower desires. They're what they are, and they doing their purpose. But now we as a black people, we have to come into our purpose. Now, a lot of people think that our purpose is just working, doing this, becoming this. But our true purpose is becoming the perfect reflection of God and becoming a God, and becoming a nation of God. So God wants us to become a nation, So in the book of, hold on one second. in the book of Exodus, the first chapter and verse 10, Pharaoh said, "Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they will also they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land." So who was the enemy of Pharaoh of that time? It was Moses, because Moses was the vessel or the mouthpiece that God used to bring freedom to the children of Israel. So how does that relate today? We seeing that cause in truth, we are the true children of Israel as black people in the North America. Mm. But now we seeing a lot of people, or a lot of us being dissatisfied and want to get away from Pharaoh. But not only that, we seeing that we or our young people joining on and supporting the enemy of Pharaoh. But who is the enemy of Pharaoh? It's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So now they doing, but how will they deal wisely with us? See, it's through the food, the vaccines, the water, even the weed, they not only breaking up families, getting certain kind of government assistance so you won't be able to make more money. Housing project. So it seems like it's a good thing to get, but in truth, but we only can keep them if we don't make enough money. So we want something that seems more dependable than rather working and taking chance. So we don't know how to. Well, we have lost the gift of sacrifice as a people.
I will.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think that was very powerful what you just said, and I am inclined to agree with a lot of it. I do think that people are they're scared to take a risk. They're like, oh, I'm gonna lose my Section 8, or oh, I'm not gonna be as comfortable. People are only thinking in today. They don't want to think, hey, if I really grind my butt off in 6 years from now, I can be doing X, Y, Z. And I feel also people don't have hope. And I feel like hope is very important, maybe not to a foolish level, but it's if you don't believe anything, if you're not hopeful, if you're not wishful, then you're going to be afraid to dream. And if you're afraid to dream, the stuff that you are dreaming in your brain is how you can manifest stuff in real life. So if they basically keep you hopeless, if they break your spirit, then they keep you bound in this specific scenario in this specific lifestyle, and you just see it continuing generation after generation. And that is something that I am very big on stopping. Me myself, I am very interested in technology, so I don't have formal education in technology, but what I did do is I self-studied. There's resources on the internet. I took a chance on myself. I studied my butt off for 6 months to pass the certification, and then it just so happened that I met some good people, and I got a very nice entry-level role into technology, but I love it and I'm happy. Something that I would like to speak on is I'm the only woman on my team. I'm also the only Black person. So I'm on a team of 11 other white men. And that's difficult for me. But something that I try to think about myself is I'm sacrificing maybe my comfort. So maybe somebody else now, they will trust them to, they will hire somebody else who is Black or who is a woman or both. And they will let them know that, okay, Black people can do this. So it's I feel like I have a lot of weight on my shoulders. And I feel like that's for a lot of people who are in tech anyway right now, who are women or who are Black, to perform well, to exceed expectations. Because generally, Black people, I would say, maybe weren't allowed in this space. But something else that I want to do is I want to start my own tech firm, because I feel like we need our own. We can't just continue to rely on Black people to continually employ us. I do think it was great that I landed this position, but at the end of the day, I could just be the diversity count. So I don't know. So I think it is very important to sacrifice, to build our own things, to maybe not be as comfortable as we would like to be, when we are thinking for tomorrow. And one more thing that you were speaking on, I'm a pretty, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a pretty hopeful person. I'm somebody who believes we have a collective consciousness. So if one person starts thinking one way, eventually a second person will, then a third, and it will continue to multiply. So I know you say like the white person is the enemy, but is it possible that just a certain way of thinking is the enemy? Because I have met some white people who are what I would say is progressive. And I have also met some Black people who are very destructive to the Black community as well. So can we not maybe be like, as a people, like some people are for building the communities? And I'm not going to say I blame white people for building their own. I blame the white people who intentionally like take from other people and try to withhold. But that's different from just, okay, I want to build my own community, because I want to build the Black community, but I wouldn't go and withhold from the Hispanic community or the Asian community intentionally, because I have an abundance mindset and I think that everybody can prosper.
I mean, the black family in general has been broken for a long time, right? I mean, ever since slavery, and let's go back to the 1900s, we've always had a lot of great leaders to follow. Like, we have a lot of things that the black people don't do is follow great Black leaders. We look up to a lot of white leaders that controls a lot of big businesses in this world, like Amazon, Jeff Bezos. We look up to people like Steve Jobs and, you know, a lot of white billionaires who really haven't done anything for the Black people in America. Instead of following people like, you know, Marcus Garvey, Minister Louis Farrakhan, 19 Keys, who I was listening to earlier, you know, Brother Ben X. A lot of great Black leaders now is, and from the past, is who we need to be studying. And I think, you know, white people continue to suppress us to this day. They continue to make laws that, you know, allow us to not rise up into power, because that's what, you know, that's the big thing is they fear is Black people rising up to power, and they will do everything they can to, you know, not let that happen. But you said something earlier, like, is it like the white people's fault, or is it like our own fault for, you know?
I think both.
Yeah, it's a combination of both. I feel like we do have we just have to tap into that mindset of, you know, just trying to make something for ourselves. Like, especially in today's time with like the internet, I mean, we can learn anything. We can separate from anything. I feel like, you know, there's never too much pressure that we can't handle because of the internet, because of, you know, great leaders in the past, great books in the past who've, you know, there's a statement that's like, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, that's kind of true. There's a lot of truth in that, because a lot of things have already been done. Like, there's not much we can create as far as like mindset and knowing what to do. Like, we know exactly what to do. We have the internet. We have, you know, all these different tools to allow us to, you know, become smarter and become more intellectual, more knowledgeable about things that we, you know, people don't want us to have. You know, we have that access now. So we really have to, you know, just use our tools and use the access to, I mean, there's really no excuses at this point.
Exactly.
You know, we're just stuck in our own heads.
I have a question for you. So I will say, Black people, we know we are the minority. So when we are looking at the statistics of Black people, I will say that Black people are disproportionately impoverished, but I will say there are also white people who are in poverty. And I bring this up because I want to ask you, Dominique earlier it might have been before we hopped on the podcast, but he was speaking about like the 1%ers and how they control the majority of everything. Yeah. So I want to know, like, is it possible that we are fighting a war of Black and white when in reality, that's just another chain to keep us bound? Is it possible that the real fight is for something else, such as control or money? And so it is a fact that that different news channels that oppose each other are controlled by the same people. Is it possible that we are fighting a war that is still just keeping us like blindfolded? Because Dominique, earlier you were speaking on, it's like, this seems like a good thing like to have Section 8 or XYZ, but it just keeps you bound. So is possibly the black versus white fight a good fight to fight, or is it really they just keeping you like that? Because like I said, I have met black people who are destructive, and I have met white people who are progressive, and vice versa. So should we maybe be focused on unity, or is it really both of those things?
The true fight is within self.
Okay.
That's the true fight. However, knowing that the true fight within self, there's an outer force that's fighting against us too, and it is the white man. Now, not saying that it's all white men, but when we say the white man, we talking about the ones that's in power. We cannot unite with them if we can't unite with us first.
Right.
You know, so we had to learn how to work as brothers and sisters among ourselves before we can go with them. It's just like you get in a relationship, but you don't know yourself. I mean, anything gonna happen, and you will accept anything because you don't want to be alone. But when you know yourself, you move in a different way. So you ain't gonna take BS from nobody, you know. So it's like, so if we go into this relationship with these white people with knowing ourselves, they won't be able to treat us how they been treating us for 400 plus years. So now they have to respect us, because in the Bible it said respect and honor your mothers and fathers. So in truth, the black man and black woman is the mother and father of the white man. And have they respected us? No, because we haven't been living our purpose, and we haven't been giving them nothing to respect. So we have to respect ourselves first, you know, and we have to respect ourselves. So if we don't do that, then they will look at us, and when they see that we are more serious, that we respecting ourselves and we doing for self, and we giving them something to respect about ourselves, you know, then just say like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable minister of Louis Farrakhan. Just for example, the nation. A lot of people don't like them or don't like us, but they respect us because of the program. The desire to do for self. You know, a lot of white people, they don't want to be among us. They accept, they put up with us, but that doesn't mean they want to be among us. Right. You know, so and when we know that, I mean, I know many of the black people, we want to be among white people, and that's okay. That's okay for those who want to do it. But knowing that when Moses led the children of Israel out of Egypt, notice it wasn't only the children of Israel that left with him. You know, so no, I'm not saying that it just gonna be us that it not just gonna be us that going to be on our own. But when we ask for separation, a lot of people think separation is like cutting them completely off. Separation is basically moving on to a separate land, getting ourselves together. It's like in a divorce. Give time, focus on each other, saying, can we live? Do we like to live by ourselves? Or reevaluate our actions, you know, give them time. Then if we can come back together, because we haven't got a divorce for white people, but we can separate, because first separation, then divorce. So when you divorce or someone, you completely done with them. But when you separate, you just taking time off to get yourself together. But you always can come back, you know, and work things out. So when we separate, that means we have to take time for us and only us to get ourselves together, and they need to get themselves together. You know, and after that, we can come back and say, what can we do? And if you study, there are some presidents, Thomas Jefferson, you know, and Abraham Lincoln. They actually offered for us to be separated. And a lot of people don't know that because they know that that is the best way and best solution to go. You know,
I agree with a lot of that, especially like the subject of separation. You made a great analogy. It's like divorce. You just taking time off from what you've been used to dealing with your whole life. And separation is basically, I got a hoodie on right now that says we go broke because we don't buy black. That's part of separation. We're not spending money within our own community. Right. We spending money to these huge businesses who do nothing for us. You just giving them more money. Like, what is that doing for the black community? It's not doing anything because that it's just going to that top 1% all the time. We spend money at all these fast food restaurants who are not owned by black people. We spend money at all these technology places, Best Buy, Walmart, everything we spend money on really is owned by white people. It's not owned by us. So really, we need to own more things. Black people needs to own more things and become a ruler of our own self and our family. We need to learn how to rule ourselves instead of depending on a higher power, depending on something else. We got to become more independent and not dependent on things. That's really what separation is, and that's huge. Buying our own things, spending money in our own community, starting up our own businesses like this podcast, starting our own media outlets, news outlets, so we control the narrative versus other news media outlets control the narrative, because most of the time they don't tell the truth. Right. Most of the time black people are the ones who tell the truth because we really know what's going on. We the ones who being oppressed. Right. So I mean, at the end of the day, we have to step into our own truth and tell what's really going on. And we know what to do. We're just not doing it. We don't trust each other. We hate on each other. We got to come together. And that's the strongest thing about this is the black family, because when you have a black man and a woman together, it's like kings, kings and queens, untouchable, right? And the knowledge that a black man and a black woman can build together can separate from this system. We can learn how to separate together from this system of white supremacy and black people just being poor in America.
And it's like when we talk about separation, it's not just a physical thing, but it's a mental and spiritual thing. Right. Because we have taken on the mindset in the spirit of our oppressors. To the point where we want to oppress our own people. Right. We want to take advantage of our own people. And like sometimes we think money is the problem. Money ain't the problem. All right. Because we accumulate the blacks in America. We accumulate $1.3 trillion a year. So that's enough to be the 9th or 10th largest, wealthiest nation in the world. But it's how we spend it. Right. And what we spend on. And like you said, we don't buy black. We say we buy black, but what they spend their money on. Right. Or you just want to feed off us in the name of black power, or Black Lives Matter, or buy black, right. Because there are people like that. They want to feed off under these names, but it's like how you go or how we go give back, how are we go build, and more importantly, how we go lead or put our children in a better position than we were as a child, because we can, like Brooke said earlier, we can blame all these people, but God allowed them to do that for a purpose. But what are we gonna do, and how we gonna go by and take actions, you know, and to elevate on a higher and a better level, you know? So
spending money on the right things was a great point. Because I mean, yeah, we can put all this money into the Black community, but are we putting it into the right things for us to, you know, really gain power? Is the question, right? I can give money to a Black dude on the street. He can go buy some crack, you know, like I'm giving money to a Black person, but that don't mean I'm doing the right thing, right? So I mean, it's a mindset at the end of the day. Like we gotta teach these Black people. We gotta, you know, come together and create classes and courses and, you know, really study history and, you know, the future of where the market and just life is going in general. And that's what higher powers are doing right now. The things that we're not doing. And that's the things that they fear. It's Black people, you know, doing these things, doing the right things for us to, you know, really come up in life. Right. So
you touched on something good. I feel like y'all are saying, the most important thing is like action. Okay, we have maybe identified what needs to be done, but what are the actionable steps to make this stuff happen? Because it requires like capital. What do we do? Like, let's say people are out there who want to do this. Like, what does it look like? How do you find a tribe of people to support you? Because we know that there's powers in numbers, and community is like what's important. So what does it look like? How do we find leaders in the community, and how do we not have so many leaders? Because I feel like in Chattanooga we have a lot of people who want to be a leader.
So the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, find 10 like minds and go for it. You know, what exactly do we want? You know, we as a Black community have 5 acres of land here at the community haven. So we have a building which can be a potential school. We have another building back there which can be a potential media room, like you were saying, building our own outlets. You know, I mean, but we have another building which can be a potential. I mean, wherever you want. An area where you can have weddings and all that things, you know, parties, you know, and all that, have a basketball around. So when the children want to go play basketball, you know, they can come where they are accepted, you know, and not wanted, but just put up with, you know, because who is over it and what he believes and who God uses. It's more of oh, I don't want to do it. You know, we have an ego and we can't get past, like what you said, our ego, and we cannot follow. And it was like brother 19 Key was saying, we always want to be a leader, but we don't know how to follow. But when the political leader told us go vote, they said, I mean, we went out to vote. You know, so the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, 100% dissatisfaction will bring about 100% change. So if we haven't changed it, that means we are not 100. If we haven't changed 100% yet, that means we not 100% dissatisfied. So we still cling and hold on to the things that this world offering us
instead of taking what's ours. You know, people they don't want to go and take it. It's like yeah, I mean, I feel like it is a thing. Like people, like we were saying earlier, people have just become complacent. It's like, oh, well, this is just what I'm gonna get, and oh, this is how it's always been. But something that I will say is I do think there's a shift happening. I do notice a lot of younger people are adopting a mindset of, I want stuff to change and being actionable. So that's good.
It's definitely been a huge shift. Like you can see the shift. Like you can see I mean, you can see just the community in general just developing a mindset to where, you know, it's progress. Like we're making steps. We're making the right steps. We saw this community haven built. Like we're making the right steps in, you know, local neighborhoods. Just to affect, you know, it starts local, so it can, you know, affect the whole world potentially. Right. This is where it starts, and you know, we really just have to educate people who aren't on that level, right? You know, you see something like this built. A lot of Black people aren't, you know, supporting it yet, maybe because they don't have the right knowledge of where we want to go with this, or, you know, it's that thing where, oh, it's not a white man's business, so I don't really want to put money into it, or like I don't really understand that. Yeah, it's a disconnect between us giving the white man money and us putting ourselves in a position to support Black people, right? Instead of, you know, we supporting the other side first before we support our own selves, and that's the wrong thing to do. Like that's totally opposite of what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's like because we don't, like y'all were speaking on earlier when I had to stand up. It's like we don't know ourselves. It's like we didn't enter a relationship, as you all phrased it, and it's like we don't know ourselves, so we are gonna give because maybe we think we're not worthy. We don't have a good self-image, maybe as a collective. So it's like, oh, Black people, you know, I don't know. Meanwhile, when a white person's business first started up, it was not top tier. You know, it was, you know, Amazon started in the garage, right? So it's like
we can do that same thing now. Like we can do the exact same thing if we really, you know, have the right mindset to do it. Exactly. And, you know, not keep creating excuses to why we can't.
And have faith.
Yeah, and you got to have faith to do it.
You know, in other words, I think sometimes we have faith in other people than we have more in ourselves. Right. You know, I mean. And I mean, we just like that, you know. It's like we don't look at ourselves how other people look at us, you know. Probably because we try to be humble or something, but I mean, we just have to have faith, man. Really.
And it's really like following the right people, like I said earlier. You mentioned something about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Louis Farrakhan. Like these people are 100% pro-Black. And, you know, people still not, you know, tapping into what they saying, or people, you know, Black people disagreeing with what they saying and stuff like that. But, you know, they listen to all these other white men in power, like Donald Trump, for it. Like, what has Donald Trump done for Black people in America, where you can follow, a Black person can follow him, but not follow people like the Minister Louis Farrakhan, who's 100% pro-Black, right? And go ahead. I was done.
Okay, and I was saying also keep on top of that. What has Joe Biden done for the Black people? I feel like Black people have to stop waiting on somebody from the Republican or Democratic
to come
Party,
save us.
Yeah, to be a savior. Because honestly, neither one of them mess with us. Really, they both just gonna pander to you to try to get your vote. But when it's all said and done, like at the end of the day, they worry about like, you know, money or whatever else the higher powers want them to worry about. So it's like a charade. They don't care about the Black community.
Right. I think at the end of the day, they both, you know, both systems, either you Democratic or Republic, is sort of promoting white supremacy. Yeah. At the end of the day, like they both promote white supremacy. So I mean, we're losing it at both sides. So really, the power is in separation. You know, separating from those two parties and thinking for yourself, doing for yourself, creating your own system, maybe creating your own party, and you know, from the bottom in a Justice Party, you know, Equality and Freedom Party, maybe for, you know, a collective of, you know, where we really want to take this country versus, you know, where they want to take this country. You know, they want to keep pushing this country and, you know, make America great again, while America was never great. So we really just, the whole system got to be, you know, it kind of destroyed.
That's what I think too. I mean, honestly, and I don't say I hate to think about it, but it's kind of like difficult to think about. But when you look at other like countries, other civilizations, the only time there was great change is when like a way of governing was overthrown. And so it's like it's about time. And it don't even necessarily have to be violent, but there definitely needs to be a major shift in the way that we are governed.
And the only way it would be a major shift if we, first I want to say, if we start that party, which is the justice party, which will be on the principle for all those who want freedom, justice, and equality among all and everybody, no matter class, color, creed. You know, we get those and we put those people into those high in office, you know, and if they had that mindset, and they should have that mindset, if you join this party, you know, then like, oh nah, you know, treat fairly, you know, no matter, you know, because your class, your color, or your creed shouldn't determine or justify the injustice someone does to you, you know. So
you made a great point about people, like the people in power, like and putting people in office. 19 Keys actually made a great point on Instagram the other day. He said the White House has never had like a person who's like 100% pro-black in office. Like they don't want to see somebody who's really for our people in a position like that. We look at, Barack Obama and Kamala Harris now. They're not 100% pro-black.
Yeah.
Like these people, you know, I don't want to say they're for the system, but I mean that's what it looks like, right?
Brother Barack Obama, he had good intentions.
Good, right.
However, there are forces and powers strong in which we can't see unless we get into that position. You know, that made him make the decisions that he made. You know, because sometimes we think we get into because we really can look at local. You know, we get in what's called we doing this for black. But because you messing with money, and money is white people God.
Right.
You know, they will kill you
from,
you know, they will kill you if you mess. And we talk about billions of dollars that you in control of. Like, so when you in office and people, and a lot of times we take it lightly, and because we don't understand what we getting ourselves into when we enter in office, you know, and what kind of power we have. But there are people, because all of us want money, you know, and in this day of time, a lot of people do anything to get that money,
right? You
know, and people will do anything to maintain their power. You know, so I think that Barack Obama wasn't 100% pro-black, but he wanted or he had a great desire to help black people. However, they changed the narrative on to him and made him help the LGBTQ, you know, and so they always changing or interfering with something else, and really with the LGBTQs, and notice, and really it's because like the topic earlier, because the male and female households, they don't want a male and a female, you know. Pharaoh said kill the male babies and spare the female babies. You know, so they want to kill the male babies all, and so they can put their seeds in our female, you know, which they still rule the earth. But earlier you said you believe that there's a greater war. You know, the war is about God and Satan is fighting for the minds of the people.
Okay.
That's the greatest war That's the war that is happening. Huh? Satan and God. Satan is a white supremacy of mind. Satan is a man though. If you want to put it like that.
I guess you're trying to say it's more of a mindset to where
the
devilish mindset.
Devalue, you know, injustice, you know, all that.
Okay.
You know, so
do you feel like black people could embody a safe
of course,
spirit?
Of course. Of course, because the minister said that Satan has always been here. He just didn't have no expression.
Okay, I get behind that.
So when God created himself, Satan was here with him.
Right. Do y'all happen? I asked this because I wanted to talk about something. Have y'all seen like Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Nah.
Okay, well, there's a sequel called The Legend of Korra, and it's good, okay? And so they have something what's called, like, the spirit realm that they travel to. Instead, there was a light force. Her name was Rava. I can't remember the dark force, but, like, essentially, the story was that they were both one and the same. So, like, both light and dark, so there was balance. But then they were separated. And so maybe that's kind of like God and Satan in a way. Like, now there's this evil force against this light force when really they should be one and the same for balance.
I mean that doing bad is like, I mean, I wouldn't say everybody. Yeah, black people could definitely have, that Satan devilish mindset as well. I mean, mostly we get it from these higher powers who do,
The current rulership.
The current rulership and past rulerships. We get that off of them, right? And that's wrong at the end of the day. Doing bad things is never right. We have to become gods in our own self versus developing the wrong things that higher powers teach us that we think are right, and that when they're actually not.
Exactly. I think it's a lot of times, like, ancient teachings are demonized, and I personally don't agree with that. I feel like maybe we should look to ancient teachings so we can maybe like understand like how we were, because I feel like before we were enslaved as a people, because I also think that there were people of color in America before slaves were brought here, and we all had like our people, like different civilizations had their own rituals or whatever. I feel like they were connected to spirit in their own way, because I feel like there's one spirit that we're connecting to, but it's just different ways of tapping in. So I feel like maybe the way that a lot of people have been led to tap in these days is kind of a way to steal their power.
And one thing you said, there's different ways, y'all probably go get tired of me using Bible verses and stuff. But now, and that's why when Jesus said, I am the way, he didn't say I'm the only way. He said, I am the way, meaning, the is a definite article, So when we go out, so when we go, or say we have more than one thing, the same thing, we like pass me the window, but it's more. We talking about the one that we looking for, or we being looking for, So Jesus, and we have to really get the proper understanding of the real Jesus too. A lot of people just say Jesus black, but don't have the identity of the embodiment of him. Is the way, so he's the path. So what path he took, we have to take, and it ain't gonna be an easy path.
I got some notes here I want to talk about actually. It's slave ship, ownership, and rulership. 19 Keys talks about this a lot. He talks about slave ship. Like, slave ship is the poor class. So you got three classes: the poor, the middle, and the wealthy class. Slave ship is like the poor class. Ownership is the middle class. You own a little bit, but you don't own a lot.
Right.
And rulership is complete ownership of something. Complete ownership. So rulership is like, we need to, own 100% of our own thoughts. We need to own our own mind. We need to own a lot of businesses, and so we can step into that rulership of the white people that the white people do have of this country right now. Ownership is like the middle class. We own a little bit, but we're not there yet. Like, we own a little bit, like barely anything, pretty much.
Own a house.
Yeah, a house, or like one car, or like a bicycle. Or we don't have that many assets. Like, we don't own enough things. And slave ship is like the poor class, like bottom of the bear, nothing.
Section
like
8,
homeless. Yeah, Section 8, $400 a month. Like, you talk about the 27,000 a year. I mean, that's poor class. Like $27,000 a year is right. It's poverty if you try to raise a family.
Even for yourself, like that's cost of living here is very high.
Mm-hmm. Cost of living in America is high. It's in general, especially if you want to move out like west to like California or something. You're not living off $27,000 a year in California without struggling. Like we talking about struggling.
Can't eat for a day.
Yeah, can't eating ramen noodles all the time. Like so, we gotta own more things, and owning more things is how you. Money isn't everything, but it's a tool to create more things. Exactly. So we need to own more things so we can create more money to build off of that.
And I think that a lot of people, you'll hear spiritual people refer to like money as currency. Like it's energetic. They have, you can literally tap into it. And it's like, again, it's just a different way that I could express that Black people have been stripped of their power. They've been led astray, like led into the darkness or maybe, the forest. And I feel like that was cool. What you said about like just knowing like where you are, because that also goes back to what you were saying, Dominique, earlier. Like, okay, it looks good. It looks like we're helping you, but we're keeping you enslaved. You're really like we're profiting off of you, off of your poverty, off of you. Like we're putting you in an environment that breeds violence.
That's a good point you made. Kind of got a question off of that too. Like you said, they're making it look good. Like, do you think white America creates the illusion of we let them get a little bit of power, but we're not let them go and get all the power. Like, do they create that illusion of false hope in a way?
I think so. I think a lot of things are like not what it seems like. It's smoke screens, and something I have like read. Just trying to study because eventually I want to put myself in positions to be in areas where there are other affluent people around. So it's like wealthy people. There's always something like behind the scenes. So if I'm presenting something like this to you. You also have to understand that there is something working in the background. And I feel like for people who, again, like the people who are like wanting to take and keep people bound in a certain mindset, it's like, okay, we're going to give you this. We're going to make it be like this. We're going to make you think you're happy. But we're not exposing you to like what real happiness is. So it's like this illusion, this fake mirror that you have to be looking into.
Right. And we can't, just go. We can't play by their rules. Like we can't follow that. We gotta think behind the scenes of what they doing. Like, okay, they might put a Black man at the Senate. They might put a Black man in office, but they can still create that false hope that they're not gonna try to get him out of there, or they're gonna try to just overthrow any ideas and strategies that he come up with. Like, we gotta think about that. Just because we see somebody in the office seat like Kamala Harris or Obama in that seat. That doesn't mean that they're giving us that power. Like,
right, and they still be in control, like Dominique was saying. Like, because it's people with money on the line. I kind of thought that for a very long time. Like, the people who are the president. Okay, I think he's just a face. This is my theory on it. Like, he's just a face. It's the people with all of these dollars who are controlling the country. It's the people who have their hand in all of these businesses that are actually controlling like what's going on, who are making the power plays, who are swaying the Senate and the House. And so something like that also makes me feel like this is just like another, like the news or even the presidential campaign is another smoke screen. Like books that I have read about wealthy people, a lot of them say they don't really tap into like what's going on, like into the news or whatever, because why? It's a way to emotionally trigger you, to steal again like your energy. So they focus on reading books. They focus on listening to inspirational lectures, not like I'll say that inspiration, podcasts and stuff like that. I can watch this stuff on the news, but how much does it impact me day to day? And my real power is adjusting myself and making like my family, growing my family. So if we all did that, we would grow together instead of focusing our energy on the news, when in reality, how is that impacting me or helping me or helping my brother or helping my sister?
America continues to create that illusion. Like, we see that illusion going on right now with the presidential election.
Right.
Everybody telling you go vote Joe Biden, go Biden. I mean, just because we want Donald Trump out of office, like, I mean, that don't automatically mean Joe Biden gonna, just promote Black rulership and we just gonna, control everything now just because we got a racist president out of office.
And Joe Biden is racist if you ask me. And also, like, my life has pretty much been the same, whoever been in office.
Right. So I mean, like you said, the president is just a face. Like he's just a symbol, pretty much of. They got a lot of power, but they don't have all the power. Like they're just a face. You can choose to follow them, or you can choose not to follow them. Like, I mean, that's your own doing. You know, you really just gotta follow your own. At the end of the day, like you gotta follow your own path instead of being led by other people who have done nothing for you. At the end of the day, like, you gotta just do for self.
Well, I thank y'all for coming out, taking the time. I think it was a pretty good conversation.
It was good.
You know, I think we actually can go long.
Yeah.
But I know
we did good.
I could go longer,
Yeah.
but it's like
It's a huge subject.
So yeah,
Like you can talk about it all day.
really.
So I thank y'all for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
We can do it
We
again.
can do it again.
Yeah, facts. We can do a lot of them.
Yeah, we can do a lot on, like you said. So thank y'all, and that's it.
Appreciate it.
We marching, we exit. Let this mind be in you. We marching, we exit. Which was also in Christ Jesus. Philippians 2:5. Sheesh.
Looking for answers, need breakthroughs. This is your exit. We'll talk about topics that you choose while teaching a lesson. Stay strong for our people and our views. We're putting in effort. Trying to do what we can, just a small few, but we see a big exit. We marching, we exit. We marching, we exit. We marching, we exit. We marching, we exit. Stay strong for our people and our views. We putting in effort. Trying to do what we can, just a small few, but we see a big exit. We marching, we exit.